Aiden has ADHD, attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. Sometimes in order for his brain to actually calm down enough to focus, he needs to go through a series of sensory sort of exercises. So he needs to move his body in a particular way. It just helps him calm down in order for him to be able to sit and focus on what he needs to focus on. And the other thing that it really impacts him with is that he also can hyper-focus on things. So right now it's drawing. He loves to draw, but he wants to draw and he wants to read all the time. And you can't do that in school. Sometimes you have to draw and read what you're supposed to be drawing and reading for class and not, other things. When he started first grade, he got a teacher that was sort of the complete opposite of his kindergarten experience. She struggled a lot with classroom management and was incredibly strict. I know that he was spending a large portion of his day outside of the classroom because he was getting in trouble frequently, and she was having a difficult time managing the classroom generally. It was obviously hurting him academically. We were seeing very negative reports with report cards and things like that. I was getting repeated negative messages via email, via phone call, and she was becoming increasingly, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but frustrated. You could tell she was very frustrated with him. Sort of the final straw came when I went in the classroom at the end of a week just to pick up some dirty clothes because I noticed he was wearing different clothes when I picked him up. And she kind of approached me very aggressively and pointing her finger at me and saying we needed to talk, that he was getting aggressive with her and we needed to fix this, and because I know that I was sort of taken aback by it. I can't imagine how my kid felt. So I actually went to the guidance counselor's office very upset and spoke with her and said, I'm really concerned, about the classroom climate, and I feel like it's hurting him socially because he's sort of being, he's the problem kid. He's the kid that gets in trouble, and I don't like her reactions to him, and I certainly don't, I can't imagine how he feels about it, but I know I don't like being spoken to the way that she speaks to me. And then when we got home, Aiden had said that she pushed him that day, and that she had pushed him and knocked him over and he had fallen on the floor. I don't know if the situation was ever substantiated. I don't know, I think it was just his word against hers. But at that point, there was like a level of trust that was broken. He was moved into a different classroom with a different teacher who was great. She was very kind and firm, and she didn't seem to have a lot of the same classroom management problems. But I felt like at that point, sort of the damage had been done. He already hated school. And so I decided to pull him out and homeschool him for the remainder of his first grade year. We started with Waldorf homeschooling. And in our experience, I feel like he actually got more socialization and more diverse socialization. So in our circumstances, I was there to kind of monitor and make sure that the social interactions were appropriate. And I felt like he actually was able to sort of navigate these social relationships a little bit better outside of the structures of a classroom. We weren't on this really rigid timeline. We have to do this, and this today because we have to test for this later. There wasn't that pressure. There were kids of all ages and backgrounds and homeschooling styles there that he could communicate and play with and get along with. And it really helped him because I think that he was getting some really positive interaction that way. So we're at a Waldorf public charter. So we kind of get the best of both worlds. They kind of are almost a little bit of a hybrid. So they connect North Carolina teaching standards for each grade and the Waldorf standards for each grade. And so it's really nice because it is much more developmentally appropriate. And it also respects the fact that kids need to play to learn, and that is the best way to teach children. And so this particular school, they get 2 outdoor recesses, 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. They also have an outdoor learning time every day. And a lot of even the classroom activities can take place outside, and a lot of it is based on imagination. In my classroom, the kids develop their own little commerce system, totally on their own. One of the materials they use a lot is beeswax. A lot of what we do is if we tell a story, then they'll create a model of the person in the story or the animal in the story. So the kids would make materials like little swords and food and pencils and whatnot out of the beeswax, and then they made little beeswax money, and they would set up their desks and they'd have little scarves over it, and they'd set up a whole shop, and at the end of the day they would say, "Shops are open," and the kids will all go around and shop at each other's beeswax shops. So I actually am a Waldorf trained teacher now. I wasn't when I started, but because we loved it so much and it just seemed to just match up with our beliefs in education in our family, I sort of pursued it. And because we did enjoy homeschooling, I was anxious about sending him to a new school, so I applied to work there as a TA, but they wanted me there as a teacher, and so I went through the training, and now I'm teaching the second grade classroom. Yeah.